We are live. All
I was
right,
just
guys. Welcome back after 2 weeks off. Right? 2 weeks or just last week? It was just last week, right?
yeah.
Yeah, just last week. I'm having trouble hearing you, Josh. We lost Josh. Goodbye, Josh.
Bye, Josh.
If we lost him, that could be there he is. Josh, 2 weeks did 2 weeks ago, right?
Are we here?
I
you hear me?
see you guys.
I hear you.
Yeah, we hear you now. Okay, bye, Josh. I hope that means we didn't lose the live broadcast. Michael, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Had a good trip out to Colorado. Besides the run-in with the homeless guy, that was interesting. I didn't know Colorado had such a homeless problem, but I learned very quickly that they do. Beautiful, beautiful out there. I loved it out there. But Josh, really quick, this is off subject from our football stuff. Josh, you finally watched No Time to Die.
I did.
Dope, right?
Yeah, it was awesome.
And you watched Dune, but you didn't take my advice to go see it in IMAX.
No, but it was fine, dude. It looked great.
No, I'm sure with your setup, it was great. Legitimately, like in recent years, like my favorite movies that I've seen in the theater, like the theater going experience was like Gravity, dope, Mad Max Fury Road, and then the two most like visceral movies experience have been Interstellar and now Dune, like just phenomenal movie going experience.
Yeah, after watching No Time to Die and then watching Dune this morning, I'm on like a little kick of watching like really visually breathtaking movies. So I just bought Dunkirk on the
Dunkirk.
the iTunes store because it was a Veterans Day sale.
Oh, I'm glad they're marketing.
So I got that, and I got 1917 for both of those movies for $15.
I was going to say, if you haven't seen 1917, that's a really good one too.
Yeah.
Michael, what'd you watch this week? Biodome.
Yeah. Still some movies.
What'd you see?
I don't remember.
They must have been really good.
They were. I watched Dexter like repeatedly. Got like through the seasons that I had watched already, and it lost me at the same exact spot.
It goes from a great show to like horrible. Not just like a little fall off like a lot of shows have, like horrific.
Well, I was trying to do it because like the new episode came out last Sunday, and I wanted to like just get to the final season, and I just had it as background noise, but nothing grabs you after Julia Stiles gets into it. And then it's,
she's terrible.
Kind of interesting, and then it's just like, it just drops off, like you said. And then like I was watching bits and pieces of the next seasons after that. I'm like, why am I watching this piece of shit show?
Yeah, well, did you watch a new Curb Your Enthusiasm episode yet?
No,
That's back. Very, very, very good. Very good so far. So I'm you got to catch up on them. There's some really good stuff in there. All right, guys, welcome back. Week 10 NFL picks. So because we didn't get to go over our picks from week 8 and our picks from week 9, we will do that and let you know the standings from each week and where we stand overall in the season. So week 8 was far and away my worst week of the season. It was Man's best week of the season, and Josh, it was a solid week for you. In week 8, Manfro, you went 11-4. Josh, you went 9-6, and I went 6-9. Specifically, there were just some games that just butchered me there. Specifically, Green Bay beating Arizona, especially once we thought Green Bay didn't have anyone that week. It was a great game. Let's see what else we had here. The Browns beating the Steelers. Josh and I picked the Lions over the Eagles like idiots. I picked the Colts over the Titans, which wasn't even an upset. I'm just an asshole. And I thought they had it. And then Carson Wentz went into like last year Carson Wentz mode when he'd been great all game and all year. The Jets beating the Bengals fucked all of us. No one saw Mike White coming. It was a rough one. So then week 9 last week, I went 7-7. Josh, you went 9-5. You had the best week, and Manfro, you went 6-8. So where we stand now on the season, there's a couple games that screwed all of us, by the way. Josh was the only one that took the Browns. We all took the Cowboys. We all took the Saints, including you, Josh, fuckboy. We all took the Raiders. We all took the Bills. Like, who saw that horrific game coming against the Jaguars? We all took let's see, what other ones? You took Green Bay over Kansas City, which wasn't a stretch. And then we all took the Rams to beat the Titans, and that's an where it stands now is you guys are tied for first at 86 and 50, and I'm 83 and 53. So 3 games back, week 10, 8 weeks to go now. I'm gonna go first, and you guys go first, and I'm gonna make up my mind. That's what we're gonna do. So it's my team in Thursday, and this spread is so generous to my dog shit team. I just want to point out again. So Brian Flores. So Tua is doing all his pregame workouts. He was throwing the ball in practice before the game. I was watching him sling it. He looked fine. And they're like, oh, he's not playing, but he's going to, back up. But he's not healthy enough to play, but he's good enough to back up. I don't know what that means. The Dolphins' offensive line is so bad. They've given up the most QB pressures in the league, which is, a pretty significant stat. They've given up 47 more than the next closest team. That is horrific. The 3 worst offensive linemen in the league are all starters on the Dolphins' offensive line, graded wise. So that's going great. And they're playing the Baltimore Ravens, who a big win over the Minnesota Vikings. The Dolphins coming off the win over the Texans, which was maybe set football back like to Bart Starr. It was 9 combined turnovers. Your boy Tyrod Taylor, who historically has lit up the Dolphins. It was just a terrible, terrible game. Jacoby Brissett is a terrible, terrible quarterback. Although the offensive line is so bad, there's nothing you could do. Now, even if the Dolphins were going well, like let's say they lived up to my expectations, what's crazy about them is that they have the best first quarter point differential in the NFL by like 30 points. And then they have the worst second and third quarter differential in the NFL by like 50 points. So if you eliminate the second and third quarters, they might be undefeated. But they're playing the Ravens, who historically just stomp on the Dolphins. We've beaten the Ravens twice since 2007. And Josh is having Wi-Fi issues, I guess. So in 2007 was the year the Dolphins went 1-15. And the one win was the Baltimore Ravens in overtime. And then we beat them in 2015, Devontae Parker's rookie year, when Flacco was hurt, and there was like nothing. The Ravens, it was like one of the few bad years. The Ravens are 7.5-point favorites against the Dolphins. I'm not stupid. I would pick the Ravens even if they were 0-9 and the Dolphins were 9-0. I'd pick the Ravens to win by 25. Smash the Ravens to cover. They dominate the Dolphins every time. It doesn't matter. Smash Ravens.
I'll take the Ravens too.
Yep, I'm gonna take the Ravens also.
Josh, you having some internet issues over there?
No, I'm just the sound's coming through my iPad a little bit low, and all of my headphones are dead. So
you could have at least like one wired headset to help.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a wired headset, but this iPad does not have a.
Okay. Jack. Okay, gotcha. All right, next game, Josh. It's your team with the upset. In the closing seconds against the New Orleans Saints, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, coming off a really bad loss to the Denver Broncos that Justin got to be there to see, and Taylor got to be there to see, and Bob was there, but no one cares. I honestly didn't know Bob was going to Dallas with them until like 2 days into their trip that Bob was there. I just thought it was Taylor and Justin. But anyway, the Cowboys are 9.5-point favorites. So, Josh, your team.
Yeah, I'm obviously taking the Cowboys here.
You're riding high.
They've entered that stage of football where they're not good, but they're not bad. And if I pick them, they're going to lose. And if I pick against them, they're going to win. So since I'm following that logic, picking against them means they are going to lose. So either I keep my position in the standings or the Falcons win a game. Either way.
Okay. Michael?
I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They're a good team, but they just had a fucking off week.
Dak's first game back from injury. Just nothing. It wasn't even just on the offense. It was the defense. You got lit up by Teddy Bridgewater. And, who would have thought the Broncos play better once they get rid of Von Miller?
Mike McCarthy has this thing where he looks like he's like, the season's going to be lost and he's going to be out of a job and all this shit. And he always seems to have like a bounce back, just enough to not get fired every year.
Rattles off like 3 impressive victories in a row and then
I
loses to the Lions.
He'll turn it around.
Yeah. All right. Next game. The New Orleans Saints, who lost to the Atlanta Falcons with Trevor Siemian at quarterback, taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Titans coming off another really good victory, beating the Los Angeles Rams on Monday night without Derrick Henry. Henry lost for the season. The Titans are 2.5-point favorites, maybe the most underrated team right now. You don't hear them talked about like Arizona and Los Angeles, even though they've been beating these teams. They beat the Chiefs, they beat the Bills, they beat the Rams. So the Titans 2.5-point favorites. Manfro.
I'm going to take the Titans. They're good.
No denying it. Josh.
I like the Titans here.
Yeah, I had a feeling you guys are going to take the Titans. I'm going to take the Saints. I feel like another week of Trevor Siemian. I feel like getting Taysom a little more involved. I feel like they bounce back. Non-divisional game. The Titans really riding high right now, are due for a letdown. They're going to be facing a much better run defense in the edge, specifically with the New Orleans Saints. The Saints won't get bullied like the Rams defensive line did. And that sounds crazy with Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald, for as great as he is, does over-pursue a lot in the run game. I don't think that'll happen with the Saints, so I'm going to take the Saints in the upset here. All right, next game. The Jacksonville Jaguars coming off their win over the Buffalo Bills. I loved it. I love that the Bills don't look that great, by the way. Taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts coming off their bye week, but before that loss to the Titans. The Colts are 10.5-point favorites at home. Manfro.
I'm going to take the Colts. Jonathan Taylor is going to, and Naeem Hines are going to rip shit up.
Taylor's killing it, dude. He's unbelievable.
Well, I got his backup. Like, I got Naeem Hines, and
he's
20 points.
Yeah, so, and then they still have Marlon Mack, who was really good before he got hurt.
Yeah, if they start incorporating all 3 of them guys in, it's
like what you see with the
minimal amount of
what the Browns could do with Kareem Hunt and Chubb and that dude who went off when they didn't have either of them against the Broncos. So, Josh, Jaguars, Colts.
I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts too. I know the Titans. This is the funny thing. The Jags are good at 2 things, and they're actually good at it. They're good at running the ball, and they're good at stopping the run. So that's what make it interesting because Wentz had his first bad game. But other than that, Wentz has had a pretty good year. I think before he had the 3-interception game against the Titans, he had 13 touchdowns and only 1 interception on the season, which is the exact opposite of what he was last year. So, all right, next game. I actually love this game. The Cleveland Browns coming off the big win, better without Odell. Can we agree on that now? He's better without Odell?
100%.
Yeah. Taking on the New England Patriots, coming off the win over the Panthers. Dirty-ass Mac Jones. That was a dirty play. No one could ever tell me otherwise. He was trying to twist the ankle of Brian Burns. As of this morning, the Patriots were a 0.5-point favorite at home. It probably shifted closer to like 1.5 by game time. Josh, Browns, Patriots.
I'm going to take the Browns unless Odell signs with the Patriots.
He wouldn't be playing if he signed.
I know, I'm joking around. I'm taking the Browns.
Okay. Manfro?
You know what? I'm not sold on the Browns. I'm going to take the Patriots on this one.
Yeah, you're kind of like I don't think you're a Baker hater. You're not a Baker like
he has flashes of greatness, but he's just not consistent. And he's got so many weapons around him that like
but does he?
And the Joku and fucking the other guys, what the fuck's his name? Higgins or whatever? I don't know.
But they've also been so I agree that the weapons on paper make a lot of sense. But
with 3 running backs like that, and their running backs are fucking sick, it helps you open up and find people open.
You know what I mean? They're playing single coverage. Heavy. Yeah, they're playing single man coverage because they're trying to stop the run.
And I don't know why, I just see Bill Belichick having a good game plan for him and fucking bringing him back down to earth.
He might, but I think it can't be denied now that, the games that we've seen him with Odell and then the games without Odell, that he is a completely different quarterback. And then ESPN ran an article this week about the relationship between them and Odell and Baker, and they were like really good friends. Like they got along well, but when it came to the field, Baker didn't understand every time he went to look to him that he wasn't running the route that was in there. And you go through your progressions, and then say Odell's your second look because he's getting when in the pre-snap he's got two people on him. You're expecting him to run a 15-yard out to see if he could break, and he's streaking downfield. That's going to make a quarterback hesitate. And it's now, again, 2 straight seasons. And when you think about his rookie year, right, he was awesome. He set the rookie touchdown record, 27 touchdown passes. They traded for Odell, and he has a down sophomore year. And then then the first full year with Odell, or second full year with Odell, struggling. Odell gets hurt. Boom, he lights it up again. Boom, he wins the Browns' first playoff game. We've seen this before. Quarterbacks sometimes play their best ball without those guys out there that kind of improvise. And, you better hope Odell don't go to Green Bay.
No, they're saying that he's going to be offered the league minimum to go there, and Devontae Adams is trying to recruit him. But I don't want him on the team. There's a reason why a team like the Giants gets rid of a generational talent. And the guy had all the talent in the world. He just got too big for his bridges, and he became a cancer to the locker room. That Lil Wayne interview.
Embarrassing.
After that, I was totally lost on Odell.
Yeah, because even if Eli was shot, he's a fucking legend. You don't do that to Eli Manning.
No.
Like, who are you? Like, yeah, you've been lighting it up. They want to talk about that fucking stupid one-handed catch against the Cowboys. Great catch. They lost the game. Like, yeah, take your fantasy points.
The boat.
Huh? The boat
was,
trip, yeah.
Like that's
and then
what
drops everything against Green Bay.
Yep, he had 2 first downs for a catch, and like that's what I noticed the most was that, and I was like, this guy's so good, he just needs to keep his mouth shut, and then to go healthy. On ESPN and do an interview with a rapper has nothing to do with football,
and the only thing you do about football,
it's fucking dumb.
Well, what about the thing that led to this, him leaving the Browns, was his dad releasing an 11-minute video of all the times that Odell is open and Baker doesn't throw to him. Like, you're not going to tell me that Odell Beckham Jr. didn't know that his dad was going to do that. Like, that's some pussy shit. And I felt bad for Baker. He's like, he was over my house like 2 weeks ago. We were hanging out, and then this comes out, and now he won't talk to me. Baby, fuck him.
Yeah,
anyway.
Aaron Rodgers would love to throw to him. It's like Aaron Rodgers wants like locker room leaders, not fucking guys who are gonna fucking me.
So Aaron Rodgers, when he came back this week, actually, he wants a new team doctor, Joe Rogan. We'll get to that later. Next game, the Buffalo Bills coming off that terrible loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, taking on the New York Jets, coming off that terrible loss to the Indianapolis Colts on Thursday night, where I think the Colts put up like 500 total yards and like 250 rushing. That's some crazy shit. Mike White is starting, even though Zach Wilson is healthy. I'm starting quarterback. Anyway, the Bills are, I was talking about the Bills with Dan Haggerty. And I'm like, listen, like they're a good team. There's no denying it, but they've taken a step back, like not like a Colts step back, but Josh Allen ain't playing the same because they're not running the ball the same. Their offensive line isn't the same. Their defense is great. No shitting on the defense whatsoever, but you're starting to see those kind of cracks where I thought last year Josh Allen was obviously an MVP candidate. I think that's about the best you're going to get from him, like ever. And he's going to be a very good quarterback, but you're not seeing the same kind of consistency. They're not scoring the same way at all, for that matter. But it's the Jets. Like, Mike White ain't going to light it up again. Like, if you watch that Bengals game, I think that he only had 2 passes that went more than 20 yards through the air. The rest were under 15. And because they basically took what the Patriots do all the time. Oh, I'll take the 5-yard play. They'll run for 5 more. Just dink and dunk and dink and dunk. And teams will pick up on that. So
like I watched the game with Mike White against the Bengals, and he had some fucking great throws. Like
he specifically in the red zone, he was awesome.
Well, the difference between Zach Wilson and Mike White is that Zach Wilson throws the ball, and he'll be a 50-50 ball. If Mike White doesn't hit his receiver, it's either too far for the defenseman or the guy gives his receiver a chance for it. And Zach Wilson just kind of like throwing it up and praying that it comes down.
Well, the biggest thing I noticed specifically about Mike White, his performance was that, and compared to Zach Wilson, is Zach Wilson could make those like dazzling 65-yard throws, but he's missing on the 5, 10, 15-yard outs that get you first downs, that get you short yardage situations. He's missing them by a wide margin. But that game, kind of, yeah. But that game that Mike White had, he had 405 passing yards. 287 of them came on yards after the catch.
Yeah, well, then against the Colts, too, his second drive of the game, he
was
went
great.
Right down the field. But then they put Josh Johnson in or whatever, and I was kind of pissed off because I wanted to, he got
hurt.
As much as I know, he got hurt, but as much as I want to see the Jets lose and it's the circus show, I like to see this kid do better than Zach Wilson because that's going to be even funnier. He's going to make the front office look like a bunch of jackasses, and that's a circus in itself. So I want to see this Mike White fucking rip it up.
Well, I don't. I hope he gets hurt. I hope Zach Wilson. Well, this is actually a bigger indictment on Zach Wilson because Mike White comes in, lights it up, right? Then Mike White gets hurt. Josh Johnson comes in and he plays a good game. He lit it up. He had a really good game. He threw 3 touchdowns, 270 yards, and we've seen one instance of that with Zach Wilson so far. So either he's not ready or he ain't it. I don't want to say any quarterback that young ain't it because we've seen guys have terrible. Josh Allen's first 2 years, he was not good at all, and then you've seen what he's turned into. So, but the Bills will win this one. I actually think it might be low scoring because I don't think the Bills' offense is that great right now. So, but I'll take the Bills. I would not touch that 13.5 just yet.
Yeah, I'll take the Bills also.
I'll take the Bills too.
Cool. All right. Next game, the Detroit Lions still don't have a win. And Jared Goff, dude, that's the second time in that last game. They were on their bye week when they lost to the Eagles. The second time this year that he threw the ball away on 4th down. Like, you got to at least put up a prayer and hope you get a penalty or something, right? Like, that to me is a guy that quit. That's how I take it, at least. The Lions taking on the Steelers. The Steelers coming off the win over the Bears. Very close game, and you could argue that the only reason the Steelers won is because of maybe the worst officiating I've seen in a long time. Specific calls.
I hate the Bears, and I was like, that's fucked up.
I genuinely have like a burning, fiery hatred for the Bears. No more boring team gets more primetime games than the Chicago Bears. I don't understand how. And what I saw, and that game that I saw on Monday night, I thought Justin Fields looked really good too. Not that we got to get to the Bears at another time, but I thought Justin Fields looked really good in the second half. But I think when his first designed run of that game was only the 9th designed run for a guy like him this season. That's embarrassing with his physical skills. Anyway, Lions, Steelers 9.5-point favorites. We're all taking the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year, along with what's his name?
Ryan Shazier.
Yep, Ryan Shazier. Yeah, defensive limp of the year. All right, next game, another huge. The next two are big point spreads. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Washington Football Team. Bucks, right?
Bucks.
Bucks. It's like Washington is as disappointing a team as there is this year, right? Specifically on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, we understand.
Oh yeah.
Fitzpatrick got hurt, and Heineke isn't that good. He's a gamer. I don't think he's that good.
But where's Chase Young?
Yeah, well, he hasn't done shit this year. When you think of how good he was last year, he's been. But it's not even just him. The whole defense has been invisible. Like, they were a good defense last year, but this is kind of the Ron Rivera pattern, even in Carolina. Good year, bad year. Good year, bad year. Good year, bad year. Every time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was probably the same way. There were. Luke Kuechly was always good. But he
for
had
a bit he
stretches of greatness.
Yeah.
And I think you'll probably see that from Chase Young a lot because last year was a great year. This year he's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's just.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see him bounce back because he's got the talent.
I wouldn't be surprised if he bounced back next year, or if he suddenly in this last stretch of games he just lights it up suddenly. Like, it wouldn't be any surprise coming off the
He
bye.
might need a winning team around him. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to judge like a defensive lineman, especially when they're double teaming you, and like. If he has no other pieces around him and, like, they're not, the offense ain't clicking and shit like that, it could just be a trickle-down effect.
It definitely could be. It's not fair to just single him out. But there's been a clear, and again, this is not just him; it's the whole defense. They were a top defense last year, and they were top at getting the quarterback last year, and they are not that way this year. And obviously, more attention is going to be paid to him, but he is not even getting the pressures the same way because they can't double team you every time.
Well,
And even if
Chase Young last year got the fucking Washington to win that division.
yeah, and that's why
the last 4 or 5 games he had were like unbelievable.
Oh,
but
he was ridiculous.
Still a chance there, Now it's a little different story.
Yeah, and it's hard to say because we could say that you're getting double teamed every time. So does Aaron Donald, and he still gets his. And it's hard to compare to the best defensive player maybe of this generation, short of J.J. Watt, and even then it's 1A, 1B. But I do expect a little bit more from Chase, just because you can see sometimes in the effort, and it's not hard to see a young player like struggling when the team is struggling. So that's about the maturity and the evolution of him to take the team on his back, because JJ Watt played on some bad Texans teams and he never, the effort was always there at least. But we're all taking the Bucks. Next game, Carolina Panthers coming off a loss to the Patriots against the Arizona Cardinals, who in a victory probably took away the MVP from Kyler Murray because they look like they didn't miss a beat at all. Like against we'll get to San Francisco. We'll get to when it comes to Monday Night Football. I have a lot of thoughts on San Francisco, but the Cardinals are 10.5-point favorites. I don't think Sam Darnold's playing, and even if he was, that's not necessarily a good thing for the line for them. Not that PJ Walker is any better, but we're all taking the Cardinals, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good for Colt McCoy. Listen, Colt McCoy's had a pretty good NFL career when it all comes down to it. He is exactly what you want in a backup. We've seen it a couple times now. He did it for the Giants last year, beat Seattle. He's beaten more playoff teams in his career than Daniel Jones has, in fact. But hey, good for Cliff Kingsbury.
He's also played like fucking another 10 years longer than fucking Daniel Jones.
Well, I just mean in the last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Just beating Seattle. All right, next game. This is a good one. The Minnesota Vikings coming off the loss to the Baltimore Ravens, where they very easily could have and maybe should have won it, taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers coming off the win over the Eagles, which was a very close game as well. Another game Chargers maybe should have lost. Vikings should have won. Chargers should have lost, whatever. The Chargers are 2.5-point favorites at home. I think this is a really good game. Manfro.
Who the Chargers playing?
The Vikings in Los Angeles, which there's no such thing as home field advantage for the Chargers.
I'm taking the Chargers in this. The Vikings blow too many fucking games off stupid shit, and I feel like they'll do that again.
Yeah, although the Chargers are very well known for blowing games as well.
Yeah,
fair.
But I just feel like the Vikings have it all there. They just find a way to give away games, and I just feel like there's no.
Well, Zimmer's a
getting
terrible
around.
coach.
Yeah, he's a terrible coach. But like, the Vikings, they scare me every year. At the beginning of the year, they come out and you see Justin Jefferson and fucking Thielen. They go off and Dalvin.
You're not going to be seeing Dalvin Cook much longer.
No, is he getting suspended yet?
I think they'll probably put him on the commissioner's exempt list. What's crazy is the Adam Schefter side of these things. Because when the story first came out, I was like, he was like, Dalvin Cook, a victim of domestic violence. I'm like, wow. I actually said to the landlord, I was like, hey, there's been some really negative stories in the NFL lately. But this time the man is a victim of domestic violence. And she looks at me and she's like, that's not like a good thing. And I'm like, this is probably right.
Debatable.
Then the other side of the coin comes out, and that's why I think this is the biggest problem in journalism overall, is especially in sports journalism. Reporters want to be first rather than be right. And by reporting that, you're not given the full side of the story. And this is also the case when it comes to stuff like no matter what you say about Trevor Bauer, wait for this stuff to come out. When it comes to Deshaun Watson, hear both sides of these things. But then you see like the text messages came out that Dalvin Cook was sending, like saying, I'm sorry I did that to you. I didn't mean to. Like, that doesn't look good for the Dalvin Cook side of things. I'd be very surprised if he is not placed on the commissioner exempt list before Sunday. But Josh, Vikings, Chargers.
Chargers.
Okay. I'm taking the Chargers also. I just have no faith in the Vikings. All right. The Philadelphia Eagles, coming off the loss to the Chargers, taking on the Denver Broncos, coming off the dominating victory over the Dallas Cowboys. The Broncos are 2.5-point favorites at home. I did eat at Elway's restaurant in Colorado. It was okay.
I was going to say, is his restaurant a reflection on his exquisite skills as an executive?
Probably no better. The burger was better than his choice in quarterbacks, we'll say. Overpriced as shit though. For what I got, I was like, this is
I'm
fucking
sure.
stupid. And the Super Bowl trophies in there, and the landlord looks at a picture, like she doesn't know who he is. She's like, wow, he's got horse teeth. I'm like, yeah, and he was a Bronco. Anyway,
fucking scumbag.
I listen, I respect him. I've always fucking disliked him.
I don't respect him. Fuck him.
Why?
Because he beat the Packers.
And how many Super Bowls have you seen in your lifetime?
Bunch.
2?
2.
Yeah, okay. The Broncos are 2.5-point favorites. Josh.
I'm taking the Broncos here. I think the Eagles kind of just stink all around. Their head coach, it seems like a guy who has no idea what the hell he's doing.
Oh my God, he's awful.
I love Hurts. I do. I think the kid's got all the talent in the world, and I think that he'll be a good quarterback in the long run. But I just the way the team runs is just so strange. The way that their offensive game plan is just so weird to me.
Yep.
I like what they saw from the Broncos last week. I think you might see some more of it against a team who's definitely not on the level of the Cowboys.
Agreed.
Michael? I will take the Broncos. I love Philly because I don't know why. It's just because I picked them in the beginning of the year to win the NFC.
You sure did.
And I go with them way too much. I think the Broncos fucking decisively handing their ass to fucking the Cowboys. I think that they're just gonna roll. I think they pick up where they left off and fucking.
All right. Philly. Well, I had the Broncos here, but I only have two or three games different than you guys. I'm going to take the Eagles reluctantly. My thought process being after you guys just said that is 2 words popped in my head: trap game. Trap game, trap game. You just had a huge upset victory over the Dallas Cowboys, who were favored by 10 points. You guys looked like you had it all year against a good team. They're playing well. I agree. The Eagles, actually, to give them credit here, they played a really good game against the Chargers. They beat the Lions the week before dominantly when Manfred was the only one that took them. And I believe I have to see the odds again. Yeah, they were only 3.5-point underdogs there on the road, which is really not that much. And they're running the ball more, which is the key to getting Jalen Hurts going. So, yep, I'm taking the Eagles. Fuck you both. Next game, Manfred, it's your team. The Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson returning. This is a great underrated rivalry over the last decade, the Seahawks and the Packers. And it almost always seems to go the Seahawks way, doesn't it, Michael?
No.
Well, what about that playoff game?
Well, we don't talk about that.
I remember the video.
What about the Fail Mary?
Yeah, the Fail Mary.
We don't talk about that one either. Packers have had their number the last few years, so
they have. I agree.
Packers are going to kick their fucking ass this weekend.
So, are you taking the Packers?
Yes.
Okay.
Is Rodgers going to be back this week?
Is he vaccinated?
No, he's going to be back.
Yes, I'm pretty sure he's back. I also want to point out that in a week where a NFL first-round pick wide receiver killed a woman doing 156 miles per hour in his car, drunk driving, and the woman got incinerated along with her dog, that Aaron Rodgers was somehow the bigger bad guy is fucking stupid.
I love it.
It's stupid. The only fault you could give him, and this is where the only way I don't believe him, is that he knew what he was saying when he said he was immunized. And this is where it's not even his fault. The fucking cocksucker media that wants to crucify him now, where were you asking him? What does that mean when he said that? Like, we asked if you're vaccinated. You said you're immunized. Why didn't you follow up? And the one journalist who asked if he was vaccinated initially, and when he said, I'm immunized, he took accountability and said, I should have followed up. That's my mistake. But everyone else, from Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, and douchebag Schefter, and all these guys acting like he's this villain.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw and the fucking...
Yeah, it's stupid.
Sunday kickoff. Like, I was watching that. I'm like, are you guys fucking serious? Go suck a dick, you fucking old bitches.
Yeah, and clearly that his teammates and franchise doesn't care because they were like, we're cool with this. They knew, like, the league knew and he knew. So the outrage is fucking stupid. When fucking Howard Stern wants him banned from the league. And this is the analogy I made, is like, Howard was the dude talking about the size of girls' titties as they were running at a Columbine when their classmates were getting shot. And now he wants to say, like, he was like, oh, look at the size of the tits on her. Like, they were high school girls. This is Howard wanting anyone canceled is embarrassing for anything. And Rogers,
Whoopi wrote it.
Yeah, but like, come on, like Rogers, like it's the witch hunt against him is so stupid, and I'm kind of loving that he's a heel now. Like, I kind of love it.
This
Josh,
is gonna push the Packers to the Super Bowl.
I could very well see it. Or Mike Florio did a thing. Could this, because Aaron Rodgers is so, he can't believe the backlash towards him, and Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk is like, could this mean Aaron Rodgers retires mid-season? Not dumbass. Like, they were
he's gonna throw a touchdown. He's gonna take a toothpick and throw it into the crowd.
Listen, all I'm gonna say it. I still think it's too early to judge anything on Jordan Love, but he didn't really. I don't like judging a kid. Like, it's not right to do right away because the offense is made for Aaron Rodgers. It's not made for Jordan Love. Make it for Jordan Love. He'll be fine. He made some decent throws in that game. The offense was terrible otherwise.
Well, Devontae Adams kind of fucking pissed me off a little bit. He was like his body language, like when
he alligator armed
Jordan Love would throw him a ball and he'd be like, "Oh, come on,
dude, Aaron Rodgers is
you don't have Aaron Rodgers back there, and you're the best wide receiver in the league. So make shit happen. Don't fucking go there and fucking act like a fucking like pouty baby."
Yeah, I agree.
Jordan Love didn't hit you in the fucking numbers. It's like, no, you go out and prove why you're the fucking best wide receiver.
And Love didn't play so poorly that I'm like, oh my God, what are they doing? I don't think he instilled confidence, but you're also going from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. And
but
Aaron
the thing
Rodgers
is like, okay, so what I took away from that game mostly, right, is that the Packers didn't need to win that game. They have they have a good season so far.
Yeah.
So their defense was fucking awesome. The best that they played all year.
Okay. Who were they playing?
And, with Jordan Love there, it was a lot of 3-and-outs and shit like that. But, they only gave up 13 points against, I know Mahomes isn't the same guy he was last year, but they only gave up 13 points, and that's huge.
No, listen, and it's a confidence builder if you're because listen, even if the Chiefs are struggling, they are the team and the game that is circled on every team's schedule to prove a point. And they came up, and unfortunately, the defense couldn't hold on late. And that Tyreek Hill third down catch, that would have been it, and you would have had a chance. But regardless, Josh, Packers or Seahawks, Packers, who are you taking?
Well, no surprise here. The Yankees' middle infield issues continue with Yankee second baseman Russell Wilson being out the last couple of weeks on injury. But he's coming back in a big way this week. I like my guy. I like my MVP. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks.
What does Pete Carroll have to think about what's happening in Kenosha on trial?
You put me on the spot.
No, don't even say anything. That's such a fucking disaster. I'm not touching that.
Well, actually, no. Pete Carroll came out and said today, there was a little bit of a controversy. The judge in the trial, his phone rang in the middle of the trial today, and the ringtone he had is the walkout music that Donald Trump plays at his rallies. So Pete Carroll took to Twitter today to strike these rumors down and say, hey, listen, this is just a target of the lamestream left-leaning media to come out and superimpose this music onto this video of a trial. Pete's got a point here. I think that we need to look at this from every angle.
No, actually, the guy's ringtone
very clearly.
The ringtone was actually "Thank you, Brandon." I did love that when I saw that thing about the judge's music was. Someone framed it, Trump's walkout music. I'm like, his walkout music, and they're like, proud to be an American. I'm like, hasn't been a fucking song for a long ass time. Like, why is it only that? like, come on. Anyway, it's stupid. All right, Sunday night game, AFC West matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Las Vegas Drunk Drivers. The Raiders coming off the loss to the Giants. The Chiefs coming off the win over the Packers. The Chiefs, as of this morning, were 2.5-point favorites. Manfro.
Well, Patrick Mahomes has taken me, bent me over, and fucked me in the ass this year in fantasy football. He single-handedly is responsible for my fucking middle-of-the-road record, where if he comes through and gets more than 10 fucking points in a game, then I'd be cruising right now. I'd be in a playoff spot. But no, I'm like in 7th place, and I have the worst points for. Like I suck because of this guy. But Las Vegas has got me a bunch of wins this year, like in our picks, and I don't think they're doing it this week because Patrick Mahomes is coming out, baby, coming out party. He's gonna have 4 touchdowns.
He's coming out with his brother,
and he's gonna do a fucking dance on Sean Taylor, Henry Ruggs' fucking number, in the fucking.
Well, Henry Ruggs is alive.
Yeah. No. Well.
They retired his number.
They're gonna retire his number. Why would you want to kill his number? Retire it.
So they hang it up. It's like you're retiring his number.
I'm taking KC. Well, like I feel like if you rape a kid or you kill someone in a car accident, your number should not be used anymore. They should just add.
What football player raped a kid?
Brian Urlacher.
Did he?
No, I don't know. Lawrence Taylor did for sure.
Lawrence Taylor. Listen, to be fair to Lawrence Taylor here.
No. Darren Sharper did for sure.
No, it wasn't with Lawrence Taylor. He didn't know that the prostitute he bought was underage. He thought he was buying an adult prostitute.
And she was getting beat, and he saved her.
Okay.
Don't
smoke crack.
Yeah. Darren Sharper, though, did the rape.
Darren Sharper had a license plate that literally said no means yes.
That's the good motto to live by.
Yeah, that's how you got engaged. Josh, who are you taking? Chiefs, Raiders?
I think the Raiders are going to start to slide. They overcame the Gruden thing, and then it's been a lot piling on these
Carl
last couple
Nassib
weeks.
thing.
Yeah.
Is
wait,
he still
what?
on the team?
the gay guy on the team.
No,
Yes,
I was talking about the.
Josh is saying that the Raiders
driving.
Josh has said the Raiders had to overcome one of their players being gay. That is
No,
so
that's not what I
offensive.
meant.
I overcome when I look
you
at
caught
him.
me. Stop being a fucking dickhead.
You said it, not me.
I'm talking about the murder. And also the.
You want to murder a gay guy?
Shut up, idiot. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Ruggs, and I'm talking about the guy with the gun on Instagram.
Yeah, that's so. I think of their last.
Well, Henry Ruggs had a gun in his car too.
He did. They didn't know if the woman had a gun in her car because it was melted.
I bet you the dog was like.
Oh my god. Anyway, Raiders think I'm taking the Chiefs.
I'm gonna take the Raiders. I picked against them a lot this year, but they came back after the Gruden week and they whooped ass. They were great. And then this week I think was a little different because today's players are so tight, and
Whoa.
I think not Carl Nassib. I don't have the bell.
Edit.
So no, don't edit. Fuck it.
Can't edit. We're live.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, dump button.
But
I think that last week was harder to deal with than what happened with Gruden because it was clearly a guy they all cared about. I really appreciated Derek Carr, even though that situation was awful. Was like, I don't have to forgive, but like, I cared about the guy. And like today's world where like it's you fuck up no matter what the fuck up is, and it was a horrific fuck up. Doesn't excuse it. It was still his friend. And Manfro, when you eventually kill someone by accident, I'll have your back too.
Wait, are we talking about Derek Carr being friends with Henry Ruggs or John Gruden?
Carl Nassib. All right. So I'm taking the Raiders. All right, the last game of the week, Monday night, the Los Angeles Rams coming off the loss to the Titans, taking on the San Francisco 49ers, who frankly stink. And I think it's, Josh, you might have some really good vindication here because the way the 49ers season is going, I think it's his, 4th year as the 49ers head coach, Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He will have losing seasons in 3 or 4 of them. And if you remove the season when they went to the Super Bowl, he's only won 19 games, I think is what the record is.
Yeah.
Some
guys just, are great coordinators, but just aren't cut out to be head coaches. And I think that his problem is he's not a very good game planner.
Adjuster specifically to the game plan.
Yeah. He goes into a game with a great playbook most of the time, but he has a hard time adjusting around that. And I think he gets caught in a lot of ways. I think that
I think one of the big things, it is hard as a coordinator when your team is up 28-3 to hold on to that lead as an offensive coordinator. Run the ball.
Yeah, especially when you don't coordinate the defense. Sure.
Yeah, but when you could just run the ball.
Yeah, no, hey, I'm outspoken on that. People
I'm
like to
talking about the Super
game.
Bowl that the Falcons lost to
Yeah,
the Patriots.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
I know what
okay.
you're talking
I just wanted
about.
to be sure because they
And
lost.
a lot of people like to put that loss on Matt Ryan because apparently Matt Ryan plays defense and calls run plays.
Matt Ryan.
No, I don't put it on Matt Ryan. It is his fault, but I don't put it on him.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan, I'm sorry. Yeah, Shanahan, I don't think he's that good. I think he's a great coordinator. And there's been so you look at that year they went to the Super Bowl. You know what he had? A killer defense and a running game. And you know what he hasn't had since then? A killer defense or a running game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that this is he's on the hot seat. Not something I expected to say coming into the year. I would gladly take him as an offensive coordinator 9 times out of 10.
Sure.
Maybe not in the Super Bowl, but Josh. Manfro, Rams, 49ers.
I'm taking the Rams, but Deebo Samuel's going to have a huge game. He's on
Kittle
pace to
look
break.
pretty good.
He's on pace to break Jerry Rice's rookie record of receiving yards or some shit. He's scheduled he's on pace to do something, and with the extra game, the 17th game, he's gonna fucking do it.
They're
George
put an
Kittle is
asterisk next
back.
to it.
My second overall pick. He doesn't totally suck balls. He fumbles and shit, but he's gonna fucking do good. But the Rams are gonna win ultimately.
Josh?
Yeah, I agree with Manfro. The Rams are going to win.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams also here. If the Rams didn't lose, I would consider it, one of those kind of trap divisional games on the road kind of thing. But I think that the 49ers haven't won a home game in like 9 straight games, which is fucking crazy. That's really hard to do unless you're the Lions.
The Lions are going to lose this week.
Yeah, we all agreed on that. They're playing the Steelers.
Yeah.
So are you interested in the homeless people in Colorado? Like, do you want to go visit them?
No, there's enough homeless people here.
This is different though, because like our homeless have manners to an extent. Like when you walk through a city, the homeless half the time, when they're on the sidewalk, they sit up like against the building, right?
So this is the reason why they fucking are where they are, is because in like New York City, there's not as many Karens as there are in places like up here. So up here, you're not going to see as many homeless people because Karens are going to fucking harass them. In New York City, everybody's about their business, and Newark, and no one gives a fuck what the fuck you're doing, unless you're like shitting on like a playground or something.
Well, I saw 2 homeless people drop trow and shit in the middle of the sidewalk.
Yeah, I saw that every day in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, and hanging out with me, it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
But like one of them, like I said, the homeless people in New York and Newark, they kind of just hang off to the side, right? Like when you walk by the sidewalk, these motherfuckers just hang out in the middle of the sidewalk. This woman was clipping her toenails in the middle of the sidewalk.
Did you get her number?
She was more your type. She had a dick. And then when we almost got mugged and assaulted by the homeless person, that was an experience.
I would love to see you fight a homeless person. Would make me so happy. And
dude,
the homeless dude just knock you the fuck out. Would be
he was like,
funny.
So he was about the size of my brother.
Okay.
But I think he was on PCP. I'm pretty sure. Like I've seen that look in the eyes before, but like and also he couldn't have knocked anyone out because he housed this woman in the face, closed fist twice, and she didn't fucking flinch. She was like shocked, but he couldn't drop a woman who was maybe 115 pounds. So then
Dan's like, oh, he has no punching power.
I was like, I'm gonna go. I actually thought he might have had a weapon on him at one point because he was reaching for his waistband. But I'm like, he probably would have sold it for some smack, honestly.
Yeah.
But it was weird. It is beautiful out there. The biggest thing, the altitude does make you fart a lot. I didn't think this was true until I got there. I didn't have any issues with the breathing, but I was fucking beefing hard.
Interesting.
Yeah. A couple people told me about it, and then I looked it up, and it is true. So, all right, guys, this was week 10 of You Watch, I Listen NFL picks. I'm 3 games behind, and I don't want to lose. So I'm going to murder Josh before that happens.
Okay.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Later.